While we're in the programming here, we're going to show you how to set up that pre-freeze alarm as well, the low temperature sensor. So if we drop down and go into the next available zone for 17 and we click Edit, we're going to do the serial number, and instead of activating the device by pressing the button and releasing the button 3 times, we're actually going to key it in, 0988402, and done. You can see that it's set to loop number 1 by default. If we try to save it, because we've already used another zone with that particular serial number in that particular loop, you get this error message. And this error tells you you cannot learn another device with the same exact serial number and loop. So that would be reminding us, okay, for the low temperature zone, we actually want to be using loop number 3, and that's referenced in the installation guide for the unit, which comes with the unit. And of course, we also have it on the website, good information about which proper loop to use when you're setting up the device. And you can see here, it talks about the loops. Loop 1 is the heat and the smoke, and loop 3 is the freeze warning sensor. So that highlights how the panel uses the loop number to know how to respond based on which activation is occurring at the device. So now that we have the proper serial number and the proper loop, we finalize it by choosing the device type. When we chose smoke detector earlier, that was for the heat and the smoke. For the low temp, we can choose environmental, or more applicable, temperature. You'll see temperature auto selects 24-hour auxiliary. You certainly can select any of these other options, but in most cases 24-hour auxiliary is what you would want. That means it's a environmental alarm at the panel, and if it has that pre-freeze condition, it's going to set off the alarm. Finally, just like we did with the smoke detector, instead of just calling it a smoke detector, or in this case,
upstairs.
In this case, instead of just calling it a temperature detector, we can call it an upstairs temperature, and we can go a step further.
The coat room,
cold, to indicate upstairs cold temperature. Because this is alerting on temperatures 41 and below, we're going to do upstairs cold temperature, 24-hour auxiliary. This one, maybe we don't want it to go through to the central station. We don't need a phone call. We just want to know inside the house. Or if this is a vacation home, we're not going to be on site to know when it goes into alarm mode, then we would want that to go through to the central to avoid the freezing pipe situation. You get your phone call that you have your upstairs cold temperature alarm going off, and now you get your neighbor to go on site, make sure they fix your furnace issue, whatever it may be. Chime, disabled, that's right. And again, supervision, we want it to be supervised so that we know about issues with this detector in advance. Now that we have our upstairs smoke detector and our upstairs cold temperature sensor learned in, we can exit to the home screen, and once we close up the detector, we can test it. So, in the normal action, this green light lights up periodically. The red light's off. That means normal activation. You can see that the green light just flashed, and we know it's working. So, again, this is the test switch. It's opposite the hole with the plastic bridge. You have the hole, and at the bottom is a silver disc. Pressing and activating that silver disc activates the device. And in this case, when we're testing it, we're actually going to be testing both conditions, the smoke and the heat and the temperature together, because when you hit the test button, it's basically activating any learned-in zone. So if we just had the low temp, it would only activate that. If we just had the smoke and heat, it would only activate that. In our case, we have them both set up, and we're going to test it now. So we press and hold. We get our fire alarm.
Disarmed, not ready to arm. Check zone.
So I keyed in one disarm command to stop the siren, and you can see that the panel is highlighting both alarms that were triggered. We have the alarm 16, which is our upstairs smoke detector, showing with the house on fire, and we have our alarm 17 upstairs cold with our thermometer showing the cold temperature. So that shows you that both loop 1 and loop 3, both zones activated properly to the panel, and the sensor worked. We can disarm.
Disarmed, ready to arm. Chime.
And after the second disarm, the panel's back to ready. the red light's no longer on the sensor, and that is how you program a 5808W3 smoke and heat detector to your Lynx Touch L5200 panel. We hope this video has been helpful, and we invite you to subscribe to our channel, and if you do have any follow-up questions to what we've shown you here, we invite you to email us support@alarmgrade.com.